Hello, all, and welcome back to Are You Hooked, where we discuss how a TV show captivates an audience. My name is Jennifer Hahn.
And I'm Sarah Callan.
And we are fascinated by what draws people into a story and want to understand the pieces that get us hooked on a TV show. Today, we are going to be discussing the opening scene of Euphoria, Season 1, Episode 1. This is very exciting because this show has been hyped to me for so long, and the new Season 3 is coming out soon, so this feels very timely. But yeah, we're excited to talk about Euphoria today, and both Sarah and I have not seen Euphoria before. All right, so Sarah, do you want to give a short description of this opening scene?
Yes, in this scene, Rue is born and things go downhill from there. And we are stopping the scene before we see Zendaya. So this is just pre-Zendaya, things going awry for Rue.
Yes. So the timestamps for that we'll include in the show notes. Go watch the scene and then listen to the rest of our conversation. This is quite a splash of an opening scene, I will say. We've done a lot of hooks, and there's a lot to talk about here. So, Sarah, based on this opening scene of Euphoria, are you hooked? Why or why not?
Based on this opening scene, I am hooked. I was very surprised because, like you, I've heard great things about this show. I personally have not had interest in this show. It's not a Sarah show.
It's not a Sarah show.
It just, it is what it is. I can appreciate great craft. It is not a Sarah show. That is why I have not watched this yet. But these first 3-ish minutes, I was blown away. I was so interested. This starts out with a bang, and I was like, okay, if this is how we're starting this story, if this is how we're being introduced to this character, I have to know more. Like, I'm ready to keep watching. It's so creative. It's so interesting. It's very in your face. And I was here for it. So yeah, I was absolutely hooked based on this opening scene. But what about you? Based on this opening scene alone, are you hooked?
Yes, opening scene alone. Your thoughts about this opening scene and the fact that you are hooked from this opening scene is very excited for me to hear what your thoughts will be when we do our next episode, which is the closing scene. And are you still hooked or not? Because this is definitely not on paper a Sarah show, but this opening scene, it did it for you, which is very neat and notable.
Yeah, based on this opening scene alone, are you hooked?
Yeah, I was hooked because I was so intrigued. I think this is just like the most unexpected opening ever. We start from like fetuses, and what was really striking about this opening scene is how much it weaves in commentary around real world events, the state of the world. There's like this rage, this anger that this opening scene and this character is like unapologetic about inviting you into. And so I just love how bold and kind of fearless this opening scene is. There's like the way it's cut together, we get like George W. Bush in there edited in as well. And I'm like, oh, this show is putting an exclamation point from the very beginning that it is not afraid to just be bold. And I think that's really exciting to see, and just getting also to inhabit the kind of mental space of this character immediately. I felt connected to who this person is and kind of their lens of seeing the world from off the bat. So I wanted to know who this person was and how else they saw the rest of the world around them and how they exist in the world. So strong, bold, fearless. Euphoria opening scene did it for me too.
And I think the voiceover during all of it is really crucial in helping to like shape how we see this character and obviously how we're introduced to this character. And I love the dissonance between, this small child that we're seeing on the screen, and then we're hearing older Rue narrating all of this stuff. And there's such a disconnect between those two. And so that's part of that mystery that you were talking about. Like, I want to know how we got from cute little baby Rue that we're seeing on the screen to this voiceover that we're hearing. That is fascinating. And like you mentioned, like I wanted to know more. I needed to know what happened.
Mhm, mhm. And there's something about being able to, like, live in a short 3-minute sequence the, like, life of this person, that by the time we do get thrown into the present day and we meet Zendaya inhabiting this character, we have so much context for the type of family she grew up in, some of the challenges and struggles and difficulties that have been there for years for her that she's been battling. And so talk about immediate character empathy. I mean, we see how far back that reaches for her of what she's had to deal with her mental health from a very, very young age.
And I love that it starts so young, and we see that in her so young. And she is trying to like process through it as best
Yeah.
she can, but then we also see her parents also struggling in that too. So I love that that's just an immediate empathy building moment. And then it's also a a source of humor at the same time too, because then again you have this voiceover coming in that is just so cynical. I love that mashup where the
Mm,
therapist is saying all of these different things that it could maybe be, and then you have the voiceover also saying all of these things too. So I love that it serves that dual purpose of we empathize with this character, we can get a glimpse into what she's going through even as a kid, and we also understand that, man, this is hard. And one way that she has coped with this as she's gotten older is through this kind of like cynical, sarcastic kind of way of speaking. And again, just introduces us to this character that we haven't even met yet, but we feel like we know her so well.
yeah, yeah. And I just felt like it was like meeting a person that at a gathering and just like, I just want to know what this person thinks about everything. Like, just let's go like on a walk and just give me your commentary and your rants and your frustrations, but also your ideas and your intuition about everything you're seeing around you. And that I love that the use of the voiceover that is so strong in the opening continues to be a thread line throughout the episode, but it's seated in this opening scene. And I love that we the setup is here and we do get the continuous payoff of that. And yeah, I and you as well, notoriously, we are not fans of voiceover because it feels cheap. It feels like we're being told instead of being shown what's happening, and it just feels like a little bit of a cop out sometimes. But in this case, great use of voiceover, and that's because of the way that the lines are written, that are punchy, that are sarcastic, that are funny, that are kind of like wildly honest, and we love that. Yeah, I absolutely love that.
Yeah, I think sometimes for me, a voiceover will actually like take me out of the story. And that's another reason why I'm just bothered by it sometimes. I was like, I was immersed, I was going on this journey, and then the voiceover comes in and I'm sucked out of whatever the character was going through. And Euphoria does the exact opposite.
Mm-hmm.
By hearing this voiceover, by hearing her internal monologue, almost this like being introduced to the world through her lens, we're being welcomed into who she is, and helping to learn to see things as she sees them. So
Yeah.
I think it's just it this show from this opening scene. So it's a limited data set, but from this opening scene, it's clear that the show knows how to use voiceover well. And to your point, it's really really well written, so it's fun to listen to, and you want it to keep going as opposed to being like, ugh, okay, this is mundane, please stop. I was like, yes, please keep talking, I need to know everything.
Yeah, and also the like unafraid honesty in the voiceover adds to as well. Like you're like, oh, she just said that. Yeah, okay, yeah. And then the next thing, and she's just dropping truth bombs left and right. And I think that's inherently thrilling. Um, the other thing that is really strong in this opening scene is the editing, and like we've been mentioning, we are being invited into the headspace of this character, and the editing adds so much to help us feel what the inside of her brain might feel like as she's like walking you through the highlights of her childhood. And so we get the like camera swinging over and then a hard cut, like jumping forward in time several years, and it's often focusing on these like very pivotal moments that for whatever reason are seared into her mind because they were emotional, they were notable, they shaped her in some way. And so there's something really intimate about that experience of seeing her memories being told by her as she would probably recall them to us in 3 minutes. Uh, and so that was really fascinating too. And I think the pace of the editing also reflects kind of the frenetic nature of what the inside of her mind might also look like and feel like. And for someone that deals with anxiety and panic attacks, like that pace of editing, the way that the camera is swinging around constantly, feels fitting for depicting that.
I also love the little moments that we get to see because they are pivotal moments, but they're also just kind of like mundane, ordinary moments. Like when she's at the table and she's counting the squares in the skylight. Like that's such to me like a normal kid thing to do. Like I'm sure I did stuff like that as a kid. I would probably do that as an adult still. So I don't know what that says about me. But like that just seems like a totally like normal thing to be doing, but for her it wasn't normal and that was like the start of a shift in her. And so I love that mix of it's kind of a normal mundane thing, but for Rue this is like world altering and again helping us to like understand who she is, where she's coming from in just a couple of minutes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And being able to see like the reaction from her parents, which is immediately like fear and anxiety, and how much that may have contributed to her being diagnosed so early on and maybe over medicated, perhaps, on so many of these substances that are potent for a young kid, and how much that has shaped and impacted her brain chemistry, and how like the roots of her mental health challenges are not just her in isolation, but we're seeing it in the context of family and being born 3 days after 9/11, and having like so many of her early days in childhood be born into a time when the world was like in a state of trauma and panic, and how that's also shaped how she's grown up and her formative years. And so I think that this opening helps us widen the lens of like, this is a story about Rue, but it's actually a story about like a generation that was born in this time and place, and have been shaped by the world events and this like collective anxiety as well. So she is a product of her environment as much as she is a representative example that we can invest in and feel emotionally connected to.
Yeah, the footage of 9/11, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is how we're starting the show."
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't expect to start in the womb, and then after we get out of the womb, I did not expect 9/11. So it's so jarring and so shocking the way that this show starts, and I think that's also part of it is like, "Oh, I did not expect any of these things." Okay, it's that kind of like morbid curiosity of like, if this is how you're starting, where
Yeah.
are we going? I must know.
Yep. This reminds me a lot of our commentary about the opening scene of Supercell, and how, from the moment the show begins, it is unapologetically saying, this is what we are about. So if you're on board, come along. And if not, get out. And it starts from the beginning to just land that tone. And it's not trying to ease you in at all. It's like, this is who I am. Do you like it? No? Okay, fine. We don't need you anyway. And I love the shamelessness of that. It's quite refreshing.
It's also so fitting for Rue too. Like that's
Yeah,
very much her MO. So it's a great way to give us a feel for what the show is going to be and also for who this character is.
yeah. So good. So good. Any other last thoughts about Euphoria opening scene? We were both hooked. Do we
We
hit the
are both
pilots?
hooked. The only other thing that I want to mention is that there's a content warning before the
Yeah.
episode starts. And I remember thinking, that's nice, but how intense is this show if an HBO show needs to have a content warning before? And I don't know if this is like a newer thing that they're doing maybe with their newer shows, but like, wow. I was like, okay, I got to be prepared for some stuff. So thank you for the warning, Euphoria.
And I think we needed it, you know?
Yes, we did.
Because we expect that from HBO, but HBO was like, nah, you ain't ready yet. And also, for your own sake, there's a lot that's depicted here. Like, take care of yourselves too, everybody. I love the responsibility that they take to have that in there. Because I think after now experiencing the full episode, very fitting. All right. Well, this was our hooked episode of the Euphoria opening scene. We're 2 for 2 hooks from me and Sarah. Stay tuned for our next episode where we discuss the closing scene of this pilot and see where we land, where our temperatures are by the end there, which I think will be very fascinating. Lots happens in this episode, so stay tuned for that coming up next. Thank you for listening to today's episode of TV and Us. We are part of the Movie Archer podcast network, so check out moviearcher.com to learn more.
Our name sums it up. We're big fans of TV and the powerful ways we can connect with each other and the world around us. This podcast is about all of us and our shared stories.
You can subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you tune into your favorite shows. Drop us a rating and review, letting us know your thoughts about today's episode.
You can connect with us on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at tvnuspod or email us at tvnuspod@gmail.com. Check out our website, andusmedia.co, for the latest on TV and Us and our other podcast, Movies and Us.
We hope you have an amazing week, and we can't wait to see y'all very soon.